My wife of 30 years cheated with her boss, but my two daughters knew and lied to my face for months. Now they're broken by my revenge. I'm 52 years old, I work in finance, and what happened about a month ago basically destroyed everything I thought I knew about my family, about my 30-year marriage, about my two daughters who I loved more than anything in the world. The thing is, I found out my wife was cheating on me, and that alone is devastating, right? But what really destroyed me, what made everything fall apart in a way I never imagined possible, was finding out that my own daughters knew about it, that they lied to my face for months, that they chose to protect their mother instead of telling me the truth. And now I'm here, living at my brother James's house, getting divorced, not talking to any of them. And people ask me if I'm not being too harsh, if I shouldn't forgive, if family isn't the most important thing. And I just think, what family? That family stopped existing the day I discovered who they really were. I guess I should start at the beginning. Christine and I got married 30 years ago. I was 22. That was 20. We were young, but we were in love, or so I thought. We had Victoria 2 years later, then Sophie 2 years after that. They were good girls. They were incredible girls, smart, loving. Victoria was always the studious one, the perfectionist, graduated with honors from everything, valedictorian of her class. Now she's 26 and works in marketing. Sophie was more laid back, more spontaneous, studied graphic design, 24 years old, always with a smile, always making jokes. Christine worked in human resources. I worked at a financial consulting firm. A normal life. You know what I mean? Sunday family dinners, beach vacations every summer, birthday celebrations, all that shit that's supposed to mean something. I'm not going to lie and say our marriage was perfect, because it wasn't. After 30 years, things become routine, predictable. But I was committed. I was there. It never crossed my mind to be unfaithful. I never thought she would do it either. Looking back, I suppose I should have seen the signs. But that's what everyone says afterwards, right? That they should have known, that the signs were there. The truth is, Christine started working later, dressing up more for the office, being on her phone more. But I thought, well, maybe she has an important project, maybe she's stressed. I never thought, my wife is cheating on me with her boss and my daughters know about it. Everything exploded about a month and a half ago, I think. Or maybe it was 6 weeks ago. Time is weird when your life falls apart. It was a Friday night. I had gotten home early from work because I had a headache. Christine was in the living room watching TV. Her phone was on the coffee table and it buzzed with a message. Normally I don't look at her phone. I've never been one of those controlling or jealous guys. But the screen lit up and I saw the message because it was right there. It was from someone named Marcus, and it said something like, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Beautiful." And I just stood there, looking at that message, feeling like someone had punched me in the stomach. Christine came out of the shower and I asked her, "Who is Marcus?" And she went pale, literally, all the blood drained from her face. She started stammering something about how he was her boss, that it was probably a message meant for someone else, that Marcus sent messages to several people on the team, and I wanted to believe her. God, how I wanted to believe her. But something in her voice, in how she avoided looking me in the eyes, told me she was lying. She told me that night she had plans to go out to dinner with the girls, that they were going to a new restaurant downtown, that it would be a girls' night. Victoria was getting married in 3 months. They were planning the wedding. Supposedly, they were going to talk about the final details. I stayed home that night, turning that message over in my head. "Can't wait to see you tonight, beautiful." What boss sends that? To his employee? What accidental message says that? Around 8 at night, I don't know why, I decided to open the app where we share locations, the one we installed years ago for safety. To know where the girls were when they were younger. Christine always had it on. She never cared, because she never had anything to hide. Or so I thought. I opened the app and saw her location, and she wasn't at the restaurant she had told me about. She was at a completely different restaurant, in another part of the city. My first thought was, maybe they changed plans. Maybe that place was full. But then I thought, call the girls, confirm they're with her. I called Sophie first. She answered after several rings, and I asked her, "Where are you? How's dinner?" And she, my little Sophie, told me, "We're at La Fontana, Dad. The food is delicious. You should try this place." La Fontana was the restaurant Christine had originally mentioned to me, but Christine's location showed she was somewhere else, entirely. Sophie was lying to me. I hung up, got in the car, and drove to the restaurant where Christine's location said she was. It was an elegant place, romantic type, with candles and soft music, you know the kind. I parked outside and saw them through the window. Christine, and a man I assumed was Marcus, sitting at a corner table, holding hands across the table, laughing, looking at each other like, God, like I used to look at her when we were 20. I took out my phone, took a photo through the window, and stood there on the street, watching them, feeling my whole world shatter. I didn't go in, didn't make a scene. I don't know why. I guess I was in shock, or maybe it was cowardice. I don't know. I went back to the car, sat there for what felt like forever but was probably only 10 minutes. And then I opened our family chat, that group where the four of us were, and sent the photo with a message that said, "Interesting girls' dinner." And then I turned off my phone, started the car, and drove to James's house, my younger brother, who lives about half an hour away. James opened the door, saw my face, and just said, "Come in. I'll make you a drink." He didn't ask anything until we were sitting with a whiskey each, and then I told him everything, showed him the message, the photo, the lies. He was quiet for a long time, and then said, "I'm sorry, brother. This is shit, but you need to be smart now. You need to protect yourself." And he was right. But in that moment, I just wanted to disappear. I wanted it all to be a nightmare I could wake up from. I turned on my phone around midnight, and I had like 50 messages, missed calls, everything. Sophie had written me like 10 messages, apologizing, saying she was so sorry, that she was scared, that she didn't know what to do. Victoria had written me too, but her messages were different, colder, saying I was overreacting, that I needed to calm down and talk things through like adults, that this wasn't as serious as I was, making it seem. And Christine had written me too, begging me to come home, that we could fix this, that she loved me. I didn't respond to any of them. I stayed at James's house that night, and the next day, Saturday morning, the first thing I did was call my bank. I canceled all our joint credit cards, transferred half of our shared accounts to a new account in my name only, blocked Christine's access to everything. Then I called a lawyer, one a colleague had recommended to me once, a guy known for being aggressive in divorce cases. I told him the situation and he said, "Perfect. With evidence of infidelity, this is going to be easier. See you Monday to start the paperwork." Christine showed up at James's house Saturday afternoon. James didn't let her in, but she stayed outside, ringing the doorbell, yelling my name. I finally came out because I didn't want her to make a scene in front of my brother's neighbors. I went out, looked at her, and she was crying, makeup running, shaking. She told me, "Robert, please, we need to talk. I need to explain." And I told her, "Okay, explain to me. Explain to me how you ended up at a romantic restaurant with your boss while your daughters lied to me about your whereabouts." And that's when she admitted everything. She told me she had been seeing Marcus for almost a year, that at first it was just emotional, that they felt connected, that then it became physical. Almost a year. Almost a fucking year, while I came home every night, kissed my wife, had dinner with my family, planned the future, paid for my daughter's wedding. She told me she was confused, that she wasn't happy, that she felt we had lost our spark, and I could only think. And it didn't occur to you to tell me? It didn't occur to you to try to fix it before getting into bed with your boss? I asked her about the girls, how much they knew, since when, and she told me Victoria had known for like 6 months, that she had seen her with Marcus at a cafe one day, and Christine, he had confessed everything. Sophie found out like 3 months ago, when she found messages on Christine's phone. And both of them, my 2 daughters, decided not to tell me anything, decided to help their mother lie to me, cover for her. You know what that feels like? To feel that the 3 people you loved most in the world betrayed you together, like a team. I told Christine I wanted a divorce, that I had already hired a lawyer, that this was over. She started begging, saying we could go to therapy, that Marcus didn't mean anything, that she chose me. And I told her, "It's funny how you choose me now. After I caught you. How convenient." I told her to leave, that my lawyer would be in touch, that I didn't want to see her again. And she left, crying, and I went back into James's house and poured myself another drink, even though it was barely 3 in the afternoon. Victoria sent me a message that Sunday, asking if we could meet to talk. I agreed. I don't know why. Maybe part of me hoped she would apologize, that she would explain to me why she had done what she did. We met at a park near her apartment. She arrived with her boyfriend David, I guess for moral support or something. We sat on a bench and she started talking, and basically told me that yes, she had known about Mom and Marcus, but she felt it wasn't her place to tell me, that it was a matter between Christine and me, that she was trying to protect the family. Protect the family. That phrase made me explode. I told her, "Protect the family? How is protecting the family letting me be an idiot for months while all of you knew the truth? How is protecting the family making me plan and pay for your wedding while you knew my marriage was a lie?" And she got defensive, told me I was being dramatic, that Mom had made a mistake, but everyone makes mistakes, that it didn't justify destroying 30 years of marriage. A mistake. Like tripping is a mistake. Like forgetting to buy milk is a mistake. A year of infidelity isn't a mistake, it's a decision. Over and over again. I told Victoria I was canceling my contribution to her wedding. I was going to pay for like 70% of everything. We're talking about like $80,000, maybe more. And I told her I wasn't going to give her another cent, that if she wanted to get married, she could pay for it herself or her mother could, or Marcus, who apparently had money. She was in shock, literally with her mouth open, and she told me, "You can't do that. We already have everything booked. We already sent the invitations." And I told her, "Watch me." And I got up and left. That same week, I met with Sophie at a coffee shop. She at least had the decency to look guilty. She arrived with red eyes. She had already been crying. She told me she was so sorry that she didn't know what to do when she found out, that Mom begged her not to tell me anything, that she promised her she was going to end things with Marcus, that she just needed time. And I asked her, "And how much more time were you going to give her? Another month? Another year? Were you going to wait until I found out on my own, or until she finally decided to be honest?" Sophie had no answers. She just cried and said, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And part of me wanted to hug her, tell her everything would be okay, because she's my baby, you know? She's my youngest daughter. She was always my little one. But the other part of me, the part that was destroyed and furious, couldn't forgive what she had done. I told her I needed space, that I couldn't have her in my life right now, that maybe someday but not now. She begged me to reconsider, told me she needed me, that I was her dad. And I told her, "And you were my daughter, but you decided to be your mother's accomplice instead of being honest with me. So now, we all have to live with our decisions." I changed my will. I went to my lawyer and revised everything, removed Christine as beneficiary of everything, obviously, but I also removed Victoria and Sophie. I left everything to James and some charities. My lawyer asked me if I was sure, if I didn't want to think about it a little more, and I told him I had never been more sure of anything in my life. These people betrayed me in the worst possible way. Why would I leave them anything? Sophie called me crying when she found out. I guess Victoria told her. She begged me to reconsider, that she was sorry, that she would do anything to fix things. And I told her, "There's nothing to fix. Sophie, you broke my trust in a way that can't be repaired, and now this is what there is." Victoria sent me an email, didn't call, a formal email, accusing me of being vindictive, of punishing my daughters for their mother's mistakes, of being selfish and cruel. I didn't even respond. The following days were a blur, honestly. I stayed at James's house, went to work, came back, drank, slept, repeated. Christine sent me messages every day, sometimes begging, sometimes angry, sometimes trying to be casual as if nothing had happened. I finally blocked her. I couldn't take her messages anymore. My lawyer moved fast with the divorce. With the evidence of infidelity, Christine didn't have much to fight with. She hired her own lawyer, of course, and tried to fight for the house for more money. But my lawyer is good, he's very good, and basically told her that with the evidence we had, she should feel lucky we weren't asking her to return all the money she spent going out with her lover. It's been like 5 weeks since all this, I think, or maybe a month and a half. Honestly, I lose count. The divorce is in process, should be finalized in the next few months. Victoria is scrambling to pay for her wedding. I heard through James that she had to postpone some things, reduce the guest list, change the venue to a cheaper one. Part of me feels guilty about that, but then I remember her email. I remember how she told me I was overreacting, and the guilt disappears. Sophie keeps sending me messages, not as frequently as before, but every week or so she writes me, asking how I am, saying she misses me. I don't respond. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her, if I'll ever be able to look at her without feeling that stab of betrayal. Christine, according to James, who still talks to some people from the neighborhood, is living with her sister, I think. Marcus is still her boss. I guess they're still together. I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. I moved out of James's house 2 weeks ago. Found a small but decent apartment near my work. It's strange, living alone after 30 years of family life, but there's also something liberating about it, you know? I don't have to pretend. I don't have to smile. I don't have to act like everything is okay. I can just be. I can be angry, sad, lost, and I don't have to explain it to anyone. People ask me if I'm not being too harsh, if I shouldn't give them another chance, especially Sophie, who seems genuinely remorseful. And I don't know what to tell them. Maybe I am being too harsh. Maybe someday I'll regret cutting contact with my daughters. But right now, all I know is that I can't be around them without feeling that fury, that sense of betrayal that eats at me from inside. They looked me in the eyes for months and lied to me, chose to protect their unfaithful mother instead of being honest with me, and that's something I can't just forgive because they say sorry. Yesterday, Sophie sent me a long message, telling me about her day, about how her job is going well, about how she's thinking about adopting a cat. She ended the message saying, "I miss you, Dad. I wish we could talk." I didn't respond, but I saved the message. I don't know why. I guess part of me is still her father, still cares about how she is, but the other part, the part that's broken and furious, isn't ready to let anyone back in. James tells me that eventually I'll have to process all this, that eventually I'll have to decide if I want to. I have some kind of relationship with my daughters, or if I really want to cut them out of my life forever. And he's right, I suppose. But right now, I'm just focused on surviving each day, getting to work, doing my work, going home, not thinking too much. My therapist, yeah, I started therapy 3 weeks ago, tells me I'm in the shock and anger stage, that eventually I'll go through all the stages of grief, because that's what it is, right? Grief. I'm mourning my marriage, my family, the life I thought I had. Victoria is getting married in 2 months, in a much smaller and more modest ceremony than she had originally planned. I'm not invited, obviously. I'm not even sure she would want me there after everything that happened. I guess Christine will walk her down the aisle. Or maybe her uncle, Christine's brother. I don't know. It should hurt me more than it does. The fact that I'm not going to be at my oldest daughter's wedding, but honestly I feel more numb than sad. It's like I've used up all my pain, and now there's just this strange emptiness left. Last week I came across an old photo on my phone from a family vacation like 10 years ago. We were at the beach, the girls were teenagers, everyone smiling, my arms around Christine, Sophie making a funny face. And I stared at that photo, trying to remember what it felt like to be that person, to be that man who believed in his family, in his marriage, in his future. And I couldn't. I couldn't remember what it felt like, because that person doesn't exist anymore. That family doesn't exist anymore. All that's left is this broken version of myself trying to rebuild something from the ruins. I don't know what's going to happen next, honestly. I don't know if Sophie and I will ever have some kind of relationship again, if Victoria will ever understand why I did what I did. I don't know if Christine and Marcus will stay together, or if she'll eventually realize she destroyed her family for an affair that probably won't last. I don't know if someday I'll wake up and not feel this anger, this resentment, this deep sadness. But for now, I'm here, in my small apartment, living alone for the first time in 30 years, learning who I am without them, and I guess that will have to be enough.